turn the recorder and speak it.
Okay, we call to order the regular meeting for the Design Review Subcommittee for the City of San Clemente, Wednesday, September 24th. And we're going to start out today with the approval of the minutes. Or maybe we'll hold off on that until
let's hold off on that.
Scott gets here.
Yeah.
And we can launch right into our first agenda item, which is architectural review, public hearing project 25-361, American Tower Corporation. And so we'll start with, I think Jonathan's going to be presenting, but I just want to point out that we're not an approval body. We're here to provide architectural, mostly aesthetic input. This item, I guess, is going to go to ZA. But we're here to take a look at it, and just it's an informal meeting. I don't know who's here on behalf of that project, but once we get into it, we'll definitely have input and make recommendations. But that's all they are, recommendations. Okay.
Okay.
Jonathan.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so this is Public Hearing Project 25361. It's an amendment to a use permit related to the American Tower Replacement Communications Facility. The conditional use permit is C-1021, originally approved by the county. We'll get into that, some context here in a moment. So just as a general reminder that there are limitations on local regulation of radio frequency. So the FCC is the entity responsible for regulating wireless facilities, has been tasked by Congress to set RF standards, and their existing standards are a component of the Telecommunications Act. The background for this property in particular, so this site is identified in that red square on the screen. This is a privately owned parcel. It's within open space. This tower was developed before any of the other structures that you see in this image. It predates those. It was developed when this area was zoned agricultural within the County of Orange prior to incorporation by the City of San Clemente. The conditional permit that was referenced is Conditional Permit 1021, approved in 1962 by the County of Orange at a height of 70 feet. The tower was expanded at some point to 138 feet. The city and property owner reviewed records, couldn't identify records related to the increase in height, and so there was a reduction in the height of that tower as a component of a voluntary compliance agreement in 2023. That agreement was set aside, though, related to a subsequent settlement agreement that resulted after some public meetings and also interactions between the parties of the city, American Tower, and the neighboring HOA. So you can see that HOA community here. There's a park at the bottom left of that screen. That's Harborview Estates. So they were one of the parties that was a part of that settlement agreement. This image shows the tower context from a couple years ago on the far left, when the question about the increase to height was raised, and then it was thereafter reduced via a permit process down to the 70 feet that's shown in the center. That's the height that the tower is at today. There were, as mentioned before, some public meetings, and a number of general concerns were raised through those, such as site security. The property owner, American Tower, has since updated fencing. You see that in the far right photo. So there's new site fencing, security cameras, and lighting. And that settlement agreement, in addition to addressing the security components I just mentioned, set up the scenario that we're taking a look at today, which was that American Tower agreed to submit an application for a 120-foot monopole to replace the lattice tower. That size and tower type, again, was a component of discussions between those three parties, and addressed the primary concern that the neighbors raised in public meetings and presumably in discussions related to the settlement about security again. So there was a public testimony about folks having access or gaining access to that lattice tower, and the monopole presumably would more effectively limit the ability for people to trespass and climb a facility at the site. As a component, though, of that settlement, there is an acknowledgement that the settlement doesn't waive the standard required process for use permit, or in this case, a use permit amendment. So the use permit amendment would be to replace that existing lattice tower with the new monopole tower. Per the terms of that agreement, if the monopole is not approved through the city process, all the parties agree that the lattice tower remains as is, with the ability to locate telecommunications equipment on that tower.
At what height?
So at the 70-foot existing height. The image here is one of the renderings. This is shown, the site's commonly addressed as Del Dios. This particular property doesn't have access from Del Dios. The access is actually from the other city reservoir location, Salvador. They have an easement from that location to this property. But this is the closest kind of street location and viewpoint. So to the right or left of this image, there's a few residences, and this tower is on that hill adjacent to the Rancho San Clemente Ridgeline Trail. And then this is the replacement monopole that's proposed. So this is, again, looking north from Del Dios. So for discussion with design review staff today, or design review subcommittee, within city documents, there's a 2008 wireless master plan that has guidelines about design. It's not a codified standard, so this isn't a part of our municipal code. But
it's like the Henry Lenny guidelines.
Correct.
It's similar.
Correct. Yes.
In its authority.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So the design goal generally for cellular facilities is that they be stealth. That can look like facilities that are disguised in building towers or faux trees. And the height in open space areas is determined through discretionary review. If it was in a commercial or residential area, it would be the same height limit prescribed within those zones. There's not a height limit in open space. So it's determined through discretionary process. And issues for consideration. Within that document, again, that's a guideline, it's not codified, but it identifies that lattice and monopole towers are not allowed or presumably recommended. However, the council has conceptually authorized a monopole through the settlement agreement, and the 120-foot I'll add to that thought, as I mentioned before, which was also inclusive of the neighboring community. So that pole style is something that community is already familiar with. And then finally, the staff does have concern that a typical stealth facility still would not be strictly stealth in this location, given that it's on a prominent location. It would be pretty easy for your average person to identify that. In other locations where we have stealth facilities, there may be like a stealth shrub near other shrubs or a tree near other trees. This would definitely stand alone. So there may be some improvements in design consideration, but staff doesn't think that there's an effective way to fully make any facility stealth at the proposed height at this location. So there is, just wrapping up the presentation, we do have representatives from the applicant team, both Sarah O'Neill from True North, who's representing the submittal packet, but then also we have folks from ATC available if there's questions about the business side of their application. And then staff seeks discussion of any or any recommendations on this item, and those will be included within the staff packet for the zoning administrator public hearing, which will occur October 9th. And that concludes the staff presentation.
And Jonathan, if I could just add, Emily Murray with Alan Atkins here on behalf of American Tower today.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll ask questions if we have any of our staff and Jonathan, and then the applicant can make a presentation of sorts, and then we'll get input from people in the community that might be here for that for this particular item, and then we'll have a discussion, kind of an open discussion about ideas and input. that we might have. So, question I have, Jonathan, you mentioned, so there's this existing lattice structure. And then there's a settlement, sounds like, that the result of the settlement was, whatever dollar amount, I don't know, but that there would be a monopole replacing the lattice structure. But then you also said that another option is to leave the lattice structure as it is and just add additional components
Sure.
to it.
Yeah, and so I'll comment, and I think that Emily would also be very qualified to comment. So she was representing ATC in some of those discussions. But my understanding of the settlement agreement is that ATC agreed to submit this application, and the HOA essentially agreed to support this application. But the council couldn't pre-commit themselves to a decision of the discretionary process within the settlement. And if this poll is not approved, then all parties agree that the 70-foot lattice tower can remain in place as is.
Okay.
And I would welcome Emily's comment if that's an accurate summary.
Yeah, so that, and the agreement was an exhibit when we were recently before council, so it's a public document. But it has a number of contingencies in it. So as Jonathan said, the agreement was to submit the application to replace the existing lattice tower with a 120-foot monopole. The contingencies that result in just the existing structure staying in place include the city not approving it, the city imposing any conditions on it, like a condition to make it a stealth facility would be equivalent to not moving forward. A handful of things that the HOA needed to do and has done. So essentially at this point, if the application's approved as submitted, American Tower would move forward with the replacement. If it doesn't get approved or if it gets conditioned, then it wouldn't go forward.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand because it seems like, it's sort of either or. Either you leave the existing thing if you can't come to some agreement about the aesthetics or whatever, or you go to a 120-foot pole, which is not quite double, but it's pretty close to double the height. Is that because on the monopole you need more height to get the components that you need? But if you have the lattice, you can attach more stuff to it? Is that the reason?
I think without disclosing the settlement, there was a dispute over whether or not it needed to be reduced in height in the first place, right? Whether it had been approved at the original height. So that was one of the disputed issues resolved with the settlement. You're also correct that it's because the equipment is located sort of sequentially on the monopole. It needs you can locate more equipment on a lattice frame because you have more space than you would on the monopole. And then it was very important to the community at the time that the lattice tower be replaced with a monopole, which is similar to, there's another existing monopole up on that same rise, kind of maybe a couple hundred feet away. So that I think they wanted something that looked like the other facility that was already there, and that vandals and trespassers wouldn't be able to climb the way they had historically with the lattice tower. So there was a community push for the monopole design at the time.
Okay. Well, I guess we can talk about this a little bit later, but it seems like there might be another option, which is to propose a different kind of a lattice structure that's not so easily climbable, if that's a word. So you could still keep the height down, but get the components, the additional components. Is that a possible other solution?
No, it's an all or nothing the way that settlement.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to clarify. Yeah. So I think that's I understand what we're dealing with here. Did you guys have any questions for?
I mean, it's a little confusing why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
If she's correct, I don't know if that's true, what she says is true. But if she's correct, what are we doing here?
We're coming up with the best monopole that we can.
Yeah, fair question. So the what has been relayed is my understanding of the situation. The third scenario would be that ATC of their own volition could, if the city said at the end of this process, declined the 120-foot monopole, they're entitled to keep the 70-foot lattice as it is per the settlement agreement. That's very clear, and all parties have agreed to that. If at some point ATC says we don't really like the lattice, we want to do something else, they could submit a separate application. That would be at their discretion, though. There would be no obligation. So, yes, I think that the accurate at hand in front of us is likely to be one or the other. Design review can provide their recommendations on what they think would be an appropriate design. Obviously, we don't. This isn't a voting body, and I think at the public hearing, there'll be a little bit more thought into the process component, whereas today I think it's still germane to provide your input on what you think what your thoughts are on the design of a facility at this location. The reason we're also here today is that the typical process for a use permit for a new macrocellular facility requires design review, and in this case, since it's not an alteration but a wholesale replacement of the facility, it's still the standard process to go through design review.
Okay. I know you just got here, but did you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys want to if you have a presentation of sorts.
I don't have a presentation, but I'm
Okay.
happy to answer questions, yeah.
And we have somebody on.
Yes.
Sarah, do you have any comments that you want to make before we go to the public comment?
No, I think Emily covered everything that we wanted to state, so
Okay.
I'm good on my end.
Okay. So we're going to shift to public comments, and I just want to start out by saying, I assume, can we have a show of hands who's here on this item? Anybody? No? Okay, well, that makes it easy. So we'll go straight into discussion with our team here. And I actually sent some images to you guys.
Yes.
I don't know if those are appropriate, but
They're
I think
available if you want to show them.
okay. So the way I looked at this, you guys, is it seems like the neighbors they don't want the lattice structure there for a lot of reasons. Even though it's not as tall, there's safety issues. It seems like the preference is going to be to get rid of that thing. And it doesn't seem like we have an option to discuss some kind of structure that's only 70 feet high, which would probably, to me, if I was a homeowner there, would be the best solution, but that doesn't seem like a viable option. So what I was thinking is let's look at some sort of, I don't know, they call them stealth or at least more aesthetically pleasing.
There's a lot of examples in the policy.
Yeah, and I actually sent over a couple of images that I don't know if you guys.
Would you like to have?
I think let's go ahead and put them up. I mean, it's some of this stuff that you're seeing here.
Yeah.
I just sent them some images.
Yeah.
So that we could look at them and
Like an American flagpole. So I think, is your client prepared to
Well, they're going to spend money.
discuss these kinds of things?
I think they're prepared to, having spent close to a year negotiating the settlement agreement, to construct the project they've submitted on, but not to modify it.
In any way?
Correct.
So
Well,
again.
Again, we're here to provide input to ZA. So it's not necessarily, a lot of times these are back and forth and yeah, that looks good, but this doesn't or whatever. So I think probably what it's going to come down to here today is that we're going to provide some input and then, you hash it out with the ZA. That's where the decision's going to be made. And depending on what goes on there, that's outside of our scope. Then it ends up at city council. I don't know. But what we're here to do is look, we're an aesthetic review board.
Yeah.
So there are other kinds of structures. This one, we're not necessarily suggesting that the cross be on it, but that it be some sort of a, pleasing structure that's maybe a tripod, something other than just one pole, sticking up in the air. You can still get a lot more on it, and you can get to the 120 feet
And the antennas could be screened by,
Yeah, and
Right.
it doesn't necessarily, I know there's issues with solid material. That could be, those elements could be mesh, for instance. And I think it would look a lot better than just a pole with a bunch of equipment
Yeah.
attached to it. So that's one idea. If you have the other ones.
Yeah, just let
Sent
me
like
know
5
anyway.
of them, I think. Now this one's a big old tree, right? And it has these branches, these faux branches. But then there's also, you can kind of see there's a lot of equipment that's attached to it as well. And these are pretty common. I mean, 120-foot tall pine is kind of unusual on that location. But to me, especially from a distance, it's a big improvement over, just the monopole with equipment stuck on it. So that's another option.
Yeah.
This is actually Washingtonia, those things get pretty big. They get up to 120 feet. I know we don't have any other ones out there.
but it is in the, our guideline recommendations. This
And I think it's, especially from a distance, I mean, there's a lot of equipment on that thing, and it still looks pretty good. That's an option. I'm sure it's not an inexpensive one, but I think that would be a good solution. This one here, I don't know if this is even a possibility because the equipment, I mean, it's hard to tell what the scale is on this one, but obviously it's a bigger pole. And I don't know if there's some way that the equipment can be kind of streamlined, but that's another option. It's not quite as obtrusive. I think I had
You had one
a
more.
couple of,
Oh,
I thought I said 5 of them.
yeah, there's one more. Just
To your right.
do a large icon, then I should be able to see the one. Yeah, there you go.
You should be able to shift click on
That's
all
the
of them.
flagpole. The
Yeah.
that's the
flagpole.
other one. Here, I'll make it bigger.
Which is also included in the design guidelines, right there.
Right. And, very few people are going to have a problem
With that.
with an American flag flying in the wind. But again, it's if that's appropriate. They call these stealth towers, I guess. If that works with the equipment that is anticipated, I think that would be an acceptable solution as well. You sure there wasn't a 5th one, Christopher?
No,
There's 5 there.
That was fun.
Oh, that was
yeah,
fine.
we went through all of them.
Okay.
I think all those are nice examples of what it could be as an alternative to just the proposed design with the pole and then the antennas bracketed on there. So if there's a way that the applicant would be open to that, it would be nice for them to consider it. Can we expand our discussion to the building and their grounds, like landscaping and other things? Like my recommendation would be if the applicant refuses to adopt one of these options, I think the flagpole's a good one, the tripod, those two are really good. Then maybe we ask that we're kind of in this catch-22 of not, it's either or, and they're gonna stick to that, then can we require them to cover this in trees? Put surrounding trees in there around the perimeter? Can we require them to upgrade their building to make it fit more compatible with the surrounding area? Paint it, put a shed roof on it to make it kind of look like it's fits in. So, there's other ways if the applicant's unwilling to deviate, to have something that's more in compliance with our master plan that's stealth, as you've given great examples, can we, do other things?
You can make recommendations. We would be in the same situation referenced before, though, in that there is language in the settlement agreement to the effect that if the city adds additional conditions, which would be inclusive of changes to landscaping or the building,
upgrades, yeah.
then they would have the option to not proceed with the project at all and just maintain the site and lattice tower as is.
So I think, and really, it was pretty contentious public hearing when we talked about this.
We did have a
But
public
the
hearing
real
on this.
issue was the tower. Really
Yeah.
wasn't the surrounding structure or landscape, because it's not, you don't really see that, right? It's up in the trails there and surrounded by weeds and they call them natural grasses, whatever. So to me, it's really the tower. I mean, that's the element. So I think, Scott, you can chime in, but I think that we say, look, we recommend these options.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
if you can come close to one, even if it's not the exact
Yeah.
solution, there are ways. That's why they develop these things, because that 120-foot pole, that's going to be an eyesore. I mean, you're going to see it. It'll be safer, for sure. So I think that's the better solution than just keeping. And again, we're just making recommendations here anyway. But
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best thing we can do here today, unless you want to talk about it further.
No, I appreciate the time and the recommendations.
Yeah. Okay. Is that enough for you guys?
I think that's what we're looking for, right?
It is, yeah. So, and this will look like moving forward. The applicants in the room, and they heard your recommendations. Obviously, they're welcome to incorporate any of those recommendations. We'll put in the staff report, what your recommendations were, and if they had a response to those, what that looks like for the zoning administrator's consideration to.
I would just
move
like
that
to see if we
process.
could just, in the interest of some kind of recommendation, actually recommend of like one of them. I mean, I think the flagpole is great, but it may not accommodate all the antennas they want to do. But the tripod one, I think, would actually achieve their goals.
But the tripod one, I mean, if they have a monopole, if it's 120 feet tall, they're not going to want to put 3 monopoles out there next to each other.
Yeah, but the
No, the design of it would be such that it's really at 1, but it's massed as 3.
there are 3 poles. That's a good
Yeah.
point. But the 3 with the single pole, I do know that the foundation is much more significant. If you can spread it laterally,
Yeah.
then those end up being the same cost or sometimes less than a single pole. Where you've got to deal with the wind loads at the top of that thing. So I like the tripod almost the best.
Yeah, so
You
maybe
know?
we could just recommend that one.
But I say I don't. It's going to be up to them anyway. So
Yeah.
I think the 2 trees, whether it's the pine or the palm, or even the pine tree,
Yeah,
because it's got the branches. The branches start at about 10, 15 feet. So people climbing that, they're not going to be able to grab the branches. So that's another. I think those 3
yeah.
probably we
Yeah.
could be happy with.
I like the flagpole the best.
I know that they can attach the components that they need. So you're saying a flagpole with
If you have a flag on
components?
top, I assume that a flag has to, by code, by American
By law.
flag standards, has to be at the top of the pole. But it's 120 feet above 70. It's going from, so if you have the flag at the top and all the stuff, below it, okay.
Either one, any of those would work.
Let's just leave it. at
'Cause I think that's
that.
probably a lot
We'll just-
less
I
expensive.
think we'd be
than-
happy if we saw any of those.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Can we just submit all those photos?
Yeah, we can
to,
include that as an
the-
exhibit to
the
that
ZA and
Yeah.
also suggest that, it's our normal standard would be to do landscaping and to have the building mimic the surrounding area. But,
But we get that. That's
yeah,
a
sounds
lower
like
priority. Okay.
the-
Thanks for your
those
time.
things weren't known by the people negotiating the city side of the deal.
Well, we're just doing
If
our
you could
job.
Just, Sarah and project team, do you have anything to add before we finish this item?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we have moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple other items, but first we're going to approve the minutes. Scott, did you have a chance to review those from last time?
I did. We can,
I wasn't here, so you guys are going to have to make a motion.
okay, I move that we approve the minutes from, I don't know what the date was.
August
27th.
You gonna second that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, I'm abstaining. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, those are approved. All right, so moving on to the next item. Are these, David, are these combined?
Yes, the staff report covers the both Mills Act agreements.
Okay, and you're gonna present those
Yes.
separately? One after the
Together,
other? Oh,
within
together.
the same presentation. Yes.
Okay, one
Can we close
and then
it?
the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just
Okay. I'll do that.
click. Let's see if are they still on the call.
Chairman,
They go to
question. Are those going to
that
be
you can
presented
just close it.
separately
They're
at
not.
the city
They're not on
council
the call anymore. Yeah, there you go.
or together?
These are gonna go to Plan Commission. So, yeah, I think, David, you can confirm that, but these are gonna both,
Mills Act agreements.
that's a good question because
Think they go to
we-
the city
what if we
council.
decide that one of
I've
them
never seen this together before at DRS.
Yeah, well, and that's a good point because one could be appropriate and the other one not. I mean, do we have to combine them?
No, they're two different applications, and the
Okay.
presentation will cover both, and we'll have the opportunity to.
There you go.
But
So
was that an
just-
agenda item at city council or planning, there'll be two separate items.
So just to add, it's just the format of the report. It's just instead of having the same text over and over again in every report, we're bundling the common information in a staff report, and then there's exhibits that are separate to each item, and those are separate action items.
The question was, when it goes to city council, is it going to be two separate items so the city council might pass one and reject the other?
Yes,
Thank you.
it's just you're just not used to seeing it under one umbrella. That's the only difference.
You're just
Yeah.
trying to be a little more
We're-
More
expedient.
efficient.
Yeah, we're
Let's be
trying to-
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, one resolution per agreement. I think that clears it
Just
up.
like normal.
Okay, just like the previous item, we'll hear the presentation from our staff. And then, is the applicant here on each of these?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you'll have an opportunity to, give your presentation, and then we'll hear from the public. I assume you two are here to speak on this one, and both of these, I assume,
Yes.
okay? And then we'll get into we have a couple.
No, if any member of the public wishes to speak that's not an applicant, then just please fill out a comment card, just so we have.
We
it
don't
for
normally
the-
have to have those.
thought that was
I
a public hearing.
wish to have them for the minutes. Yeah. It helps
Okay.
us do the minutes.
Did you guys fill out a blue card?
I will.
I figured you would.
Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, go ahead then.
All right.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so as mentioned, we have two historic property preservation agreements this afternoon to review.
I'm sorry.
And just a quick refresher on what the Mills Act program is. This is a program that was adopted by the state in 1976, which allows cities and property owners of historic properties to enter into an agreement that we're talking about today for the purposes of receiving a property tax relief, as long as they agree to a 10-year work plan to complete some improvements. And we'll go more in depth into what those look like. The term is a minimum 10-year term that automatically renews every year. So unless there's a notice of non-renewal that's submitted by the owner, that contract keeps renewing. Or if the city decides to also not renew, the city can notify the property owner. There's a termination penalty fee of 12.5% of the property's current value. If the city were to terminate, that's different than the notice of non-renewal. We have not done that since my time here, but that's something that's in the contract. If we find that a property owner is not keeping up with the conditions, the city can decide to terminate, and then they have to pay that fee. They are also subject to 5-year compliance inspections. So that's something that's required by state. We do have to go out to these Mills Act properties and inspect every 5 years and make sure that they're following up with the conditions. So again, we received two, one for 121 West Escalones and the other one for 239 West Mariposa for this year. And within the staff report, we have a property information sheet that has the information listed here. We have a survey form for each property. The survey form pretty much outlines why the property was listed as a historic property. It tells you gives you some information on the significance. There is some building permit history on that sheet, the estimated annual property tax savings, and then some information on the draft work list that we'll present today, along with some photographs. The review process for these, it's been pretty consistent throughout the years. We start with the application being submitted. We go ahead and conduct a site visit with the historic preservation consultant of the city. We have the property owners present. We have city staff. We have a representative from the Historical Society. It's been Larry Culbertson in the past years. And then sometimes we'll have an architect or a contractor join us too. And the whole purpose of that site visit is to evaluate the condition of the property and identify improvements that we can add to the contract. And as far as the prioritized work list and the methodology, we did explain it in the report, but I'll go over it again. We do prioritize structural related items first. And then as you work down the list, you'll see more aesthetic related items. And then under aesthetic related, we break it up into three sections as well. We'll focus on what's primary or visible from the street, and then what's secondary, that will most likely be your side elevations, and then your tertiary, which would be elevations that are at the rear, not visible from the street. The next step after that draft list comes, and the draft list comes from the consultants. Yeah, we received that draft list from the consultants, the historic preservation consultant, and then staff with some discussion with the owners. We'll put what's before you together, which is the timeline.
Is that date at the bottom correct?
Well, I'm sorry. Oh, that should be 25. Yeah. So then the next step is where we're at today to get feedback from the Design Review Subcommittee, which acts as a cultural heritage subcommittee when it comes to reviewing historic properties. And then we'll go to City Council for approval or denial, and then we must execute and record the agreements prior to December 31st of this year, not 2024. And the agreement does not act as a permit. It is not a permit that allows the owners to do the work. They still need to come back to the city and obtain an administrative development permit. And that's helpful to note here because that helps with tracking as well, right? As we go through the life of the contract, that helps the applicant and the city be on the same page and make sure they're completing the items. There are cases where if there's a transfer of ownership, if this step is not communicated to the new owner, they'll think that the contract is a permit and they start doing work, and then we don't know that they completed some items until we go back for the 5-year inspection. So the first property is 121 West Escalones. This one was built in 1927, single-story residence. Its significance is due to its Spanish colonial revival architectural style, and then the date of construction, which is within the Ole Hansen period of development between 1925 and 1936. And for this one, there's a total of 30 improvements. There are, I think, approximately 10 improvements that are ongoing improvements that they need to complete throughout the life of the contract, beyond the initial 10-year term. And for 239 West Mariposa, similar, built in 1928. This one is a 2-story residence, and significance is the same as the previous one, and this one has a total of 27 improvements. The estimated annual tax savings, including both, per year would be $17,295, and then you see the individual numbers there per property The reason why 121 is higher is because that property was just bought, I believe in March.
No, December.
December. Okay, so it's pretty recent. 239, I believe you guys have owned it for 20 years. 20 years, yes. So whenever you have a new owner, they realize more savings. So staff is supportive of both Mills Act agreements, and the staff is requesting feedback. And what this can look like, we can open it up to the applicant as well to get their comments to see if they agree with the list or not. We can also, the list is not final, so we can reorder or change language as well. But that's the feedback we're looking for. And again, the next step would be to go to City Council.
I would just suggest that we take each item in the order of the agenda. So like, open it up to public, if the applicant wants to speak, public comment, have discussion, and then go to the next one. It's like separate items.
Yeah, that's a good point. You all are the only two speaking from the public, yes?
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you have things to say about each of them.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then we should go through one first, which is what you're suggesting, Christopher, and kind of wrap that, and then go to the next one, even though he presented them both at the same time. Okay. Can we, so you said we can suggest possibly a reordering of the items
Yeah,
as well as add or subtract items?
correct. Yeah, the subcommittee deems it necessary. The list that's in the report is what staff recommends. Again, following that methodology. But if there's any disagreement on the order, we can.
So it's priority based?
Correct. Yeah.
And the priority is structural? I think
Yes.
that's what you said?
Structural related. Yeah.
Okay.
That's been
And then the aesthetic things fall.
towards the end.
So that's why over the 10-year period, you want to get the structural and the, let's say, waterproofing
Mm-hmm.
issues first, and then
Correct.
give them more time to get the aesthetic,
Correct.
and then starting at the primary elevation and working down. Okay.
Yes.
You guys probably already knew that. I thought it was worth clarifying.
David,
And the 10
Yeah.
years is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so the 10 years is part of the Mills Act, that you're supposed to spread it out over 10 years, or is that what they request?
Yes, you spread it out over the 10 years. The property owner can get ahead at any time, right? But we also are mindful of, we do our best in trying to match the improvements, the cost of improvements close to the savings annually, but it's never a promise. We never make that promise.
Sure.
It's meant to supplement.
Okay, and then just real quick, and then you have a question. So we're just looking at primarily structural and sort of finishes type items. Is it also appropriate to make, design suggestions that may be a little more involved, for instance, because that could cost more money, obviously, to do that? Or are we just kind of sticking to, okay, we think this is appropriate in terms of, it's in the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly Spanish colonial revival, even if we think the chimney's odd looking or whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? Is that clear, that question?
Yeah, it's clear. The focus is more on preservation measures. So
Okay.
we're trying to preserve the home, and if there are any, through photographs, any missing features we would want to restore. So those are the two key words: preservation and restoration.
Okay.
New, like an addition, for example, would fall under more of a rehab, which wouldn't fall under the agreement.
And there's no addition or remodel
No.
proposed on either one of these? Okay. Right.
Who was involved in making the list? Was there a historic consultant involved, or just city staff based on their knowledge and a survey of the site?
Yeah, it was the historic preservation consultant, the
Okay.
GPA.
Okay.
That's the city's consultant, right?
Correct.
And both homeowners have agreed to what you're proposing?
I believe they may have some comments. I know 239 may have some comments, and then Chloe. Did
Oh,
you
there's
have
just
any?
some work that I've already completed on the list that I submitted to you.
On this email that we went over earlier, so
Got it.
fumigation.
Before we moved in, we fumigated. Did the roof repair.
Did you have any?
Got it.
No, pretty straightforward.
Okay, do you have anything you want to say, present?
Oh, yeah, there were just a couple of things on the list, so I was just saying that.
Which one are you representing?
121 West Escalones.
That's the smaller one, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, the first year it says to do a termite report. We already completed that when we purchased the home in December 2024. I had it fumigated. So we should,
Yes.
Understand why you want to do that?
yeah. Yeah, so I don't feel like we need to do it again. And then there's roof repairs as well. We had JL Roofing Company come out and give a quote, and they completed the work that they recommended.
For
For the
which,
roof.
which item?
For
Number one.
Roof repairs.
Number one.
Oh, roof
oh yeah,
repair.
number one. Yeah, so it was number 1 and 2.
Yeah, number 1 and 2 she's saying are done, which is
Okay.
fine. That doesn't
Yeah, that's, yeah,
change anything.
And then also number 6, I had OC Chimney Sweep come out and check all of the chimneys and clear them. But I don't. It was like in person, so I don't really have a written statement from him. I have a copy of the check. But I don't know.
I mean, is he a structural engineer?
I don't know.
That would be the thing.
Okay.
so you guys will confirm that.
Yeah.
We'll confirm.
The way it's
Okay.
written says structural evaluation.
Okay.
The chimney sweep guys probably
Okay.
not
Yeah,
structural.
probably not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And just for the record, there's no harm in including these in the event that we couldn't reconcile right away. If they're completed, they're done. It's
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah, we get it.
not
It's
gonna
okay.
harm them to
Yeah.
keep it in.
Right.
And just
Well,
sign
they should
it
get
off.
credit for having done that.
Sure, you
That's
get
right.
we sign it
Off the
off
list.
right away and
Yeah.
we're done.
My question for you is: have you carefully reviewed this list,
Yes.
and you're comfortable with every item on here?
Yeah.
You understand all the items that are on here?
I do. Yeah. There's
Okay.
a lot of items we were planning on doing anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always helpful. But just to make sure for me, my thing on this is just to make sure the homeowner is comfortable with everything on the list and doesn't come back a year from now going, oh, I didn't understand I had to do this and I have a problem with it. We want to avoid that.
Yeah.
To me, that's the number one thing we want to accomplish in this meeting. You're a meeting of the minds, that you're 100% comfortable with these items.
Yes.
And the time.
And the timing, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the only, just because I've already gotten a quote for the foundation, and it's definitely the most, it's more than, it's around this cost of saving, so I was just wondering if that could be the only item that we tackle in 2026.
Which item?
Foundation.
Oh, the
Number 3.
foundation?
She wants to, in phase one is your next year,
Okay.
right? And you have 5 items in there.
Yeah.
2 you've done.
Yes.
3, you recognize the importance of expediting that. That's the foundation.
Yes.
And then the other is the roof inspection and the resolving any roof insulation or exposed roofing elements like the flashing
Okay. Yeah.
which is a key to preventing leaks and mold and all the rest.
Yeah. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I understand.
Just one note. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, so what she's requesting is that we essentially move 4 and 5 down into phase 2.
Well, are you requesting that?
Yeah, that's what I was requesting. Just
Okay.
because the foundation, it's a really big cost.
Well, that's 4. 5.
No, 3 is the foundation.
The 3 is
Oh, 3,
foundation.
sorry.
Yeah.
So 4 and 5,
It's okay.
you're okay having those in phase 1.
No.
No,
No,
she
I'm
wants to
asking-
push those to 2027.
Yeah, if I could push those to 2020.
She wants 4 and 5 pushed.
Because she said because of
Okay.
the high expense of the foundation repair, hey, can we spread out the others over the more balance
So to
of
keep the foundation in phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to get
I'm a
that.
little slow sometimes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Pick up on that.
It's okay, buddy.
Okay.
Oh, I don't.
Did he have a comment that he wanted?
I think he was echoing the foundation request.
Yeah.
He wants to wait and hear from the public. Okay. We're going to move on then to public comment. Larry, you want to kick us off here?
start out by commenting on something David said with respect to what the Mills Act requires time-wise. There are some cities, I believe Anaheim, that requires you to, they put together a list. You're required to do everything on that list before you start getting your discount. Some cities are a lot stricter than we are. So as far as the Mills Act, I've been involved with the Historical Society for about almost 20 years. I've been following the Mills Act for, delighted with what I've heard so far today. I'm delighted with the Mills Act. I'm very supportive of the Mills Act, of this particular project, but I do have some concerns. The staff report was very good, I thought. There was a time when we would come to these Mills Act, there'd be maybe 3 or 4 things 10 years ago when there was no time required. Just do these 3 things sometime over the next 10 years. So the city has really tightened it up with their specific times, specific things. Another thing that they were doing a few years ago, we asked them to do, was to come up with a cost estimate on each of these things. And they stopped doing that. I know that's hard to do, but it would be very beneficial. I mean, you were able to do it for phase 1 because the applicant let you know that your foundation would be 11 grand to do that. But there's some of these other items on the list that could easily be several $5,000 items, easily. So the same thing's going to be happening a couple years from now. So it's important that the applicants realize how darn expensive all these things are. And they're making a commitment that they've got to be done. So I hope they do emphasize that to them. There was a time when there was no follow-up. And starting about 5 years ago, the city put into effect this 5-year checkout. And they've actually been implementing, and that's a good thing. But there again, the applicants have to know that they're being watched. Important. It's only fair for other homeowners and for the historic preservation.
Wait, hold on, sorry. It's saying pause on here. It was saying recording and then pause.
Yeah, as I say, I'm very supportive of this. That list is really extensive. 30 things is a lot to do, but I'm supportive. They look like the list is well researched, and if that can be implemented, the historic preservation will be delighted. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, hi, I'm Amanda Quintanilla. I just want some clarification on the roof, that the red clay tiles were replaced after the roof repair. It wasn't just left. So the red tiles were replaced, correct? And then as far as the, I agree with what Larry Culbertson had mentioned, and as far as the spreading it out regarding the roof insulation and the exposed flashing, I'm glad that the termite report was done prior to buying the house, so that's great. But let's see, I'm trying to go step by step here. And as far as the chimneys, that's going to go into what, 2020? Well, that's 2027, and exposed flashing 2027. That. So you're going to be have significant. Okay, great. And then also, was the historical appropriate color as approved by the city, was that approved by planning, or will that be going to planning commission? Will that be addressed?
Is there a color chart, recommended colors, acceptable colors?
Which number?
This is historically appropriate color for the painting of the wood windows.
Which number is that?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Is there a color palette of what's acceptable? We've had a couple that have come out with some really weird blues.
Yeah, we
Straight from the cosmo.
so we do have a color palette that we adapted from the city of Santa Barbara.
That's the
based-
Henry Lane guidelines.
Yeah, it's supplemental to that. So as an outcome of the past work to improve some of our procedures, there was an idea to adopt like a color palette that's a working document, and it started by looking at City Santa Barbara's traditional colors.
So it has to, I guess, to answer her question, has to fall into one of the, has to be one of them, okay.
Or they could propose another color that we review and determine that it's consistent with the architectural style.
Should we reword the item to say, color from the city approved color palette? Or
Well, it says
alternate-
appropriate color as approved by the city already.
Okay, it already said that.
Yes.
And then, as far as my question was, the red clay tiles, were they replaced after the wood repair, all the roof repair?
Yeah, it was part of their quote. I have a copy of like the invoice, and it said that they replaced whatever like broken tiles.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure, because there was one house that they did roof repair and they didn't replace the tiles. So that's why I was concerned about that, because on one area, there's red tile, and then there's, just black, and then you have the red tiles. So it's not fully covered, so that was my concern, that we want to make sure it'd be consistent with that. Absolutely. And as far as the color palette, I think it's great to keep it white, acceptable for the trim, acceptable colors for the trim.
Is there a way we can easily access the acceptable color palette? Just because I know painting basically like most of the houses within this.
Yeah, we can provide it in
Okay,
email.
great,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll send you.
I think you can get to it on the city's website under.
Do we have it up?
We haven't put it online
it's
yet.
not
Oh, you
no.
haven't?
website.
Okay.
No.
We'll provide it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
like one too.
Yeah.
Right. And as far as just, last, I just wanted to echo what Larry had mentioned about, this applying for the Mills Act. Having that tax benefit is basically to offset the costs of all the repairs. And just to keep know that in the back of the mind, I still have to do that the next year and the following years. It's a commitment.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't necessarily offset
No,
these costs, but these are improvements to your property.
Yeah,
And
there's
you're
a lot of
happy.
them are improvements that we were planning on doing anyways. I
Yeah.
looked at a lot of these things.
You just
on
wanted to
this
get
list
that
anyways.
benefit.
Yeah, but
It's the same.
Okay, is that it? Okay. Do you guys have
Was
any?
there on the front, there's a picture of that the brick wall, right, in the walkway right before you go in, and it just seems like it's damaged.
Yeah, the planter wall?
Yeah, the planter wall, was that in that?
that's on there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, great, I just wanna make sure.
At the front of the house?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
right,
included.
Cause I know
I think it's in
sometimes
the
dogs
ongoing.
walk around there and they,
Do you know which one is
I think it's front retaining wall.
It's item number 23.
it? 23.
okay, great, thank you.
I thought it was 13.
I think it's 13.
Yeah, front retaining
Yeah,
wall,
13.
repair damage.
13.
And that's in 2031.
Well, that references photo number 1, is that what you meant?
I think so. Let's see.
Photo number 1 is the brick.
Yeah, that retaining wall, if you zoom in, you can tell how it's not really, it's off center there. Yeah, see how it's not,
Yeah, it's pretty freeform.
I just wouldn't want, I'm thinking, I walk a neighbor's dog and I just wouldn't want someone, just to,
It's gotta be a replacement.
It's unsightly too.
yeah, exactly, it's right on the sidewalk, right.
Is there any historic, I'm sure there's no historic photos of these two buildings. Did you look for that?
We try to reach out to the Historic Society and, as part of, we if they have them, then we'll, reach out to them and try to get them. But
No success on that?
I don't know if we
I
did
don't
that
know.
as part of this review,
Yeah.
but, that historic preservation consultant goes out there and.
Well, there's no strong evidence of, major reworking of what probably was the original structure. So I'm not sure how,
That's the other one.
that's one, that's
It
just,
doesn't-
That's the other one.
oh,
Yeah, usually since this is a Mills Act agreement, they're not proposing an addition, right? If they were to do that, we'd be looking into those documents more.
yeah, I mean, it'd be helpful.
To still have
it
it
if
for
we
the next
don't.
one, yeah.
Not much we can do.
I mean, there's a chance that I mean, good chance that that brick wall wasn't original.
That's right.
And like the scope of this is just to improve the integrity of the property, you know, versus having that non-original wall ripped out. It's more to just make it look better.
And they're okay with that, sounds like.
With,
A
sorry.
brick, redoing the brick
It's
retaining wall.
That little brick at the front.
Oh, yeah,
It's on your list.
yeah.
So I would move that we recommend approval. Or do we, as a subcommittee, do we approve it or
We're
we
not
recommend it to
approving
planning commission?
To city council.
It goes to city council.
I would move that we recommend city council approval of the HPPA as written, with the exception of pushing items 4 and 5 down into 2027
To phase 2.
for phase 2.
Okay, that's just a recommendation, so.
It's a recommendation.
Cameron, do you have anything else you want to add? I agree with that, so. If that's okay with you, then we'll move on to the next one.
So should we vote on it?
Great,
Do we
thank
vote
you.
on it?
Thank
All in
you.
favor of my motion?
It's, we're just,
Oh, okay.
this is an informal
Got it.
recommendation.
Okay.
You guys have, that's what you need.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
The baby was exceptional.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You
What's-
threw
what's his
my
name?
game in here, but, Sunny,
Sunny.
yeah.
Sonny must be well fed.
He's very well fed, yes. Thank you guys so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Let's go on to the next.
So we have Larry and Jenny, right?
Yeah.
Larry and Jenny from 2
Sorry,
through 9.
welcome. So you've already presented
Yeah.
both of them, so do you have anything else you want to add? And then
Yeah,
first
I
the
do.
question, okay, and then the question is obviously seeing the list. You
Well-
understand everything and,
Yeah, that's what we have comments about.
okay,
Start with the roof, number 1. Is it suffice to get the roof inspected and a roof inspection report with any recommendations, or for this, it's a whole re-roof?
So, just, let's see, how do we,
Doesn't look like a re-roof to me. Looks like exactly what he said.
We need to go to the other list.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you gotta go to 239 West Mariposa,
Yeah.
which reads, carefully remove existing red clay tiles, replace any damaged wood framing and plywood sheathing, and reinstall red clay tiles in accordance with our building code, which means an inspection to determine if,
They need a re-roof.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so the first list you saw, and that was part of the process, I think this is a comment you had too, Chris.
Yeah.
Did read re-roof, and then talking with you, we removed that.
well, in this one, it's still, it's worded as a re-roof with remove existing red clay tiles, and replace any damaged wood framing. I mean,
Should we
get
say as
any of this.
needed?
Pardon?
Should we say as needed? Because yeah, he's saying,
Yeah.
it says remove red clay tiles.
Yeah.
That's
It is
terrible.
awkward, it is awkwardly
It is.
written.
Okay.
And because
I
I'll let the
would,
consultant.
is that what you're,
no proposed
oh, that's the
roof
consultant's.
on our house is
Mostly,
like $75
yeah.
bucks.
Right.
I think
I
it's,
think as needed
It's a
works.
lot of money.
yeah,
Right.
it would be appropriate to just have a roof inspection and implement any repairs.
Right. Okay,
As
because
needed.
Well, I think we should talk about this for a second,
Okay.
because the consultant must have had a reason. In which case, there might be some evidence that the sheathing is the problem. And the only way to repair that and or inspect it and replace it is to remove the roof, the tiles.
if you look at item number 1 under previous property address 121, it reads the same.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, if you guys are comfortable that that's the case, but you didn't write this, or make this list, right?
no,
Yeah.
we did make some wording changes to clarify, and there's opportunity to do the same here. So my suggestion is to mimic what's under item 3 and just say engage a qualified roofing professional, experience of working with historic properties, to properly inspect the roof and make recommendations with an implementation plan.
Yeah, I mean, I like
And
that.
then
Yeah.
just like
But,
follow
I
all
mean,
that
in
and
our
add
defense,
it,
too.
add it to the beginning. Just mimic the same.
So
Okay.
then you'll accept a report
Yeah.
to check that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if the
sure.
report says work needs to be done, we'll follow that. And if it
Right,
says it
because
doesn't-
in addition to that, as far as the termite report goes, we had our house tented about 5 or 6 years ago. And the termite company is also a licensed roofing company. And so they, at that time, did replace any cracked or damaged tiles. So in effect, we had a roof tune-up within 5 to 6 years. So, I mean, that
It's a
gives
slightly
us-
different though.
So what Christopher is proposing
Right.
is that we adjust the language
Yeah.
to say have an inspection by a qualified roof professional.
Right.
And then make repairs
Accordingly.
as needed.
Yeah.
So if it's all tuned up and in good shape, you don't have anything to worry about.
Right, correct. And
But they just need a report that states that that's currently the
and then
case.
this will dovetail into my additional comments.
Okay?
Okay, the reason that we started this whole process was our house has a lot of original single pane windows that don't open. So it's very difficult to get any kind of airflow within our house. And so our whole intent of starting this was to be able to create airflow in the house because obviously we're on a foundation that's almost 100 years old. We couldn't even put in central air.
Yeah, thank you.
And so I would propose that we take item 7, because we're already in the process of getting wood windows. We have quotes on everything. We have timelines of ordering them in the next 8 weeks. And we propose to move that up to basically an item number 1.
I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing anything sooner.
No, but there would have been if it's a re-roof and a window quote at the same time, because that's about $125,000 to $130,000.
Yeah, I think we've addressed that, right, with the
Right, but then-
rewording of the roof
Right.
But then,
inspection.
but to in his defense, we don't know what that roof report is gonna find.
Right, so I propose if it is a whole roof, that we move that down to like 2029, and we would like to do the windows like number 1.
Do you have any leaks coming through your roof right now?
No,
Okay, so you're not aware of any active leaks that are gonna be endangering the structure.
right,
Yeah, I don't think we have a problem with it. I mean, I'm looking at the photos, and the roof looks pretty good.
yeah, I mean, so that's the only thing, I mean, it's just trying to spread the cost, because
I don't.
it can be expensive.
I have some pause with that because we prioritize structural items first. And if a roofing professional says you just have some broken tiles, those can wait until 2029, fine. But if they did find like a sheathing issue, we wouldn't want to wait on that.
Well,
So that's where I have some pause.
No, but I also, even medically, we need airflow in our house because breathing and stuff like that. I mean, we're in our 60s right now, and we don't want to push, breathing the air and enjoying our property until we're over 70, which who knows how long we'll be here. I mean,
So maybe, Christopher, I don't know if there's a way we could reword that so that unless it's structural.
And the windows actually are structural.
No, we're talking about the roof.
I know.
Okay.
So that's
Windows
That
are
is
not
cons-
structural. Go ahead.
that's how we came to arrive at this wording. So we tried to make this more flexible by setting an implementation plan where you're working with city staff. So if you like copy pretty much number 3 and replace any mention of, in that case, foundation with roofing, you're going to see to ensure the roof is structurally sound and watertight.
Right.
And then say beyond this, you could just say aesthetic changes will be done as needed.
Or you
Well,
could push it
it's-
as a future item, because they also want to push aesthetic roof replacement
Right.
to 29, is that what you said?
Well, I mean, before we approve anything with the city council planning, I mean, we plan on doing a roof report, we plan on doing a termite report, and we plan on doing the foundation and chimney report. So before anything gets super ready to finalize and sign as a contract, we'll have all that in front of us.
So they'll know what they're looking
Yeah.
at.
So I mean, right now, it's just a discussion about the
When do you
roof.
have that scheduled for?
We don't have, we're waiting on the foundation consultant. We're gonna be out of town for another 3 weeks, but within the next month and a half.
When is this gonna go to council?
November. Second week of November. Second meeting in November. Yeah.
End of
Or do-
November?
Yeah.
Would it be done by all then?
It should be. I
So
mean,
you-
the reports should be.
Are you proposing that if it's all good, no structural issues, just kind of leave it? But if there are structural issues, then you want to move some stuff around?
It would depend on our consultation with the
Yeah.
roofer.
Just to note that staff does have means to adjust timeline in year.
After the
It's
fact?
as proposed, so.
Can
I
you
think
do it
what- I
after
think-
council approval?
Yeah, we have some room in there. It's
Okay.
in the contract. So I think staff's suggestion is to mimic like the wording in number 3 because we think that it is already flexible to accommodate different possibilities that come out of a report. So if the items are like superficial, it's not going to like affect the condition of the building, then we work with the applicant to defer that work so then they can do the windows earlier. We can work on that, but if they find some bigger issue, staff's concerned about the idea of just shifting the roof into like phase 2.
All
I
right,
understand that.
yeah, and I can see that where we've got flexibility.
Sounds like we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and I'm trying, it's hard to do with unknown costs.
Sure.
Until we know what the costs are, then we can, formulate the total game plan. Like I said, I already know that the window portion of this is about $55,000, and it takes us, I think, about 3 months to order the windows, and we're just about ready to sign that contract.
Yeah, and you can.
Yeah.
You can do that. There's no problem with that.
But he doesn't want to commit to it if he's got a big gigantic.
Yeah, because
roof on it.
we can't pay $125,000 plus other costs. It's like,
Yeah, we did,
I'd have to
and
go
we
back to work.
think that the flexibility is already built into this.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, well, anyway, okay.
We're not a problem.
As long as they have that, then we'll go ahead and continue getting the appointments for the inspections. The item 6, which, that all should be covered in the termite report. And so that, if there is any damage, I mean, we get that taken care of earlier. And then item 7, 9, that would be completed in the beginning of 2026 anyway. That's just. as a
Yeah, I mean, like he
comment.
said, we're fine with you doing
Right,
that.
right.
You just
But
did it
then-
early, yeah.
And then item 10, that's a safety issue because they want us to remove the single pane glass and put in an original door. That door is within our bedroom and it's exposed to Mariposa and La Paloma. It's been shut off as a door probably for 50 years. In our neighborhood that we've lived there for 20 years, we have people try to open our door in the middle of the night and stuff. And so in our quote for windows, there's a new window that was proposed to be put in there, that's a period piece wood. So I would say number 10, we really can't do with a door because of safety in the neighborhood.
Now, this is a good item to discuss. Yeah, this is right. Okay, you're good for bringing that up. Christopher, what's your thoughts on that?
I would defer to the historic consultant.
They're
They
the ones
thought-
that put that on there.
Yeah.
Do you think
so-
they just did it as part of, the Secretary's interior standards, that they just automatically just put it back the way it was without really thinking through the implications of that?
I think that weighed significantly in putting
Right.
it on
Well,
here.
they proposed.
But I,
Can
They
you
say, well,
waive that? Do you have the
Uh,
authority to do that?
Well, what if it's a full height window? So
yeah,
it's filthy open.
I think like where staff would want to take it is changing the wording of it to explore different options so that on the outside of the building it looks like a door, but you can't like open it, or
It's
like
gonna
stuff
look
like
a
that.
window. It's going to open from the top down so that nobody can break in.
So you want you want to put an operable window.
Do we have a photo
It's
of
going to be an
that?
operable window, yes.
Can you put that photo 8 on the
Photo
screen?
I mean, the other option is if we change wording in there, that if they want to inquire a historic consultant to show that that's not necessary to improve the integrity of the building, then we can exclude that. But, we had GPA go out there, so I'm hesitant to take this off.
But they weren't
Yes,
aware
and then-
of
What I'll add too
safety in
is
the
that
neighborhood.
part of the item, it reads based on documentary evidence. So if we don't have that evidence, then we don't do it. Because again, part of this is that we're preserving or restoring like lost features. But
Well,
I think
part
they
of
saw.
the-
I think they saw the step there and the
That's what I was
size
gonna
of
say.
that.
The stoop is part of the issue.
Yeah.
Because if that stoop wasn't there,
Right.
it wouldn't look like
The
a door.
stoop's been there for 98 years. Or 97
Yeah, but why
years.
don't you just take the stoop out? If
You
you
don't
don't want
mind
to
doing that either. We're
take
we're
the
good
stoop
with
out and
that.
replace. I mean, that's what I would suggest. I mean, you guys, is that?
So I say it's written in a way where once you're ready to address it, because we do have to base it on evidence. If you don't
Here's the-
find it, it can say like
The
that.
whole-
We do.
Here's the thing. The purpose of the Mills Act is to promote historical preservation
Correct.
and restoration to
Right.
its original state.
Right.
Correct.
So the city hired a historical consultant, and
Right.
they are the ones that are saying to the staff, hey, we think that was a door, so you need to put it back as
Probably
a door.
was a door.
So one option is, do we have any historical evidence to show it was a door? If we do not, then you can make the claim that there's no historical evidence it ever was a door, and then you can proceed with your own version. But the spirit of the whole thing is to promote the preservation
Right.
and restoration. So we just have to kind of follow that path, so we stay within that framework, because that's what enables the Mills Act to function, because
Right.
that's what we're doing. So if we just go through the motions of, okay, where is the historical evidence? If none, game over, doesn't matter.
Okay.
If it's there, if they can produce historical evidence it was a door, then I think you need to have a meeting with the staff around, hey, we understand that, but these is our safety concerns.
Right.
And then have that conversation. But if it's not, if there's no proof, if there's no physical photo, you don't need to worry about it.
So
Well-
do you have?
We don't know.
Yeah, no,
We have to
yeah,
ask
so
the
we haven't-
consultant.
Yeah, I'm going to add that in addition to a photo, if we can't find a photo, then we can rely on, say, like a building inspection or some professional to
Physical.
demonstrate that structurally it was never a door, for example. So I don't want to put it all on getting a photo. We would need to exhaust the possibility that it wasn't a door.
But I'm telling you right now that if it's determined that we have to put another door in there, it's not going to happen because we've had people walk in our house at 3 a.m. before. We've had our doors rattled.
Yeah, you're clearly on the street there, it's obvious.
Yeah.
So,
Why not pull on
I guess my point is, if it's a non-issue, there's no need to get into it.
I agree with that.
But if there is an issue, then what is the path for them to get that adjudicated?
Then they need to factor that in their decision to whether to accept the contract. You know, if the purpose of the city doing this is to waive tax revenue to fund these preservation improvements, then they can make the request to the city council. If the city council doesn't want to fully exhaust these improvements as part of the contract, that's their decision.
So can we recommend, if we want to make a recommendation, that on that? Is that something?
You can make a recommendation.
Okay.
I would start with changing the wording of that item in the
To be,
list.
let's talk about that. What would you think, what would that?
Well, let me make a suggestion. They're gonna have to do some upgrades to the windows, right? It sounds
Yeah.
like.
Oh, yeah.
They're planning.
They're all
So
gonna be
I would
period pieces
suggest
of
that part
windows.
of I doubt you're gonna find a photo, right, a historic photo of that. So since you're replacing the windows, take the stoop out, and this should be part of your presentation. Take the stoop out and propose a new window in that location that's compatible with all the other windows that they're replacing.
Because we're in a,
Because you're not gonna get the
You agree
photo,
with that,
and I'm
Christopher?
comfortable recommending it.
I mean, my perspective is, if that was original door, I personally I would keep that
That's a
in
pretty
there.
small door.
I would keep that in
it's a
place.
bedroom door, but I
And
mean,
personally,
French
what I think is more important is to restore the building is going to have the opening, the original opening that was there. And if there's like a fixed door with like a window at the top part of the door, and you kind of like mimic the panes and stuff, there's options so that you get the original opening, but what you put in the opening can vary. That's
not a
that's
door.
more
That's what you're
important.
saying. It could
It-
mimic a door in
But
terms of.
the original opening is not going to be changed.
That's true, and why not make it a casement?
Well, it's
Casement
going to
functions
be it's the opening at the top is going to be the window that opens. Okay, in that bedroom, there's one other window. That bedroom is extremely hot to sleep through. So
When you do the remodel of your windows, what are you going to put there?
it's a period piece window that about 2/3 of the way up is solid within that opening. And the upper part open so that we get airflow.
Like a slider?
I'm not
Some
sure if
kind
it's
of awning type.
It's probably, or a
Okay.
casement.
Yeah, but it's already in the works. I think the city has our plans already for the.
Okay, just so you know, casements are much more effective for airflow
Yes.
than awnings or hoppers.
Right, but we just don't want it so anybody can crawl up through there too, you know? It's like,
Well, I mean, if it's operable from the inside, you can lock it.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta open it up,
yeah,
obviously.
I mean,
To get the
and like I
airflow.
said, we've lived there for 20 years and we have had
It's a bummer,
multiple
people trying to
instances of
sneak into your
people go,
house.
oh,
Yeah.
look, I want to get in there.
Hey, so you have not signed a contract with the window company yet, correct?
No,
Are you having the city review it to make sure that
the window company is applying for the permits through the city.
okay, well,
It doesn't
David.
necessarily.
David, if they apply for the window permit, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get to your desk for historic, kind of
Compliance.
compatibility and compliance, right?
It will, yes. It gets routed.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know when, right?
But would it automatically get routed to you because it's Noli Hansen, or might it end up at Lexi or someone else, and then
It'll
they don't
definitely
know?
go to planning if it
But-
requires a building permit.
But let's say, I'm just picking a name,
Yeah.
Lexi. Let's say it goes to Lexi,
Yes.
and she doesn't know, like, hey, this is a historic house. This is a Mills Act thing. Like, will she know to review it for kind of historical compatibility?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure before you commit to $55,000 in windows that the city's happy with their design.
Yeah, well, they have, and the city will have to be because,
Yeah,
It's
it gets
a
routed
historic
to
house.
planning.
yeah.
Just because it got routed through planning doesn't mean it ends up on the right desk in planning. It was my concern.
But all these windows have to be, they're pretty much manufactured for the house.
I understand they're
They're
custom
custom.
sized, but the design, you know, the style, you know, you're talking about the one with the top opening or whatever. I want to make sure that, you know, I
Right.
spend a bunch of money on a window and David goes, that looks like 2025.
Well, but then,
Not
right, if you take the student out, then you
1925.
can't even tell. These are
There
all gonna be
could be
19
issues, and I just want to make sure. It sounds like
I agree.
everything's cool.
I agree,
Okay, I think we're good.
yeah.
Did you guys want to comment on this one, other than just to recommend support or support?
I recommend support. Everything I've heard, you're being very meticulous in your requirements.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
All I wanted to say is, number 16 on phase 8, says west property fence, repair termite damaged wood fence or replace with a new option that is compatible with historic character of the property. I had the pleasure of going to the house more than 15 years ago, and it used to be a double lot. So I'm just wondering, is that fence even to period? Because it was split. Because it used to have a big, huge backyard,
Right.
and then they subdivided it. And just wondering, is that fence even to period, or just?
I believe wood fencing would be.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a safety issue for the property next door too, because they have a stairway.
Right.
And I think any type of a block wall on our property is not going to be anything we can think of, because block walls nowadays are so expensive.
Exactly. No, I was just wondering because I don't remember there being a fence when my son and I went there at the property over 15 years ago, because it used to be wonderful. It was a big, huge double lot.
Right.
And I remember mentioning to the owner, I said, you know, you have very few double lots that are historic, that aren't on double lots, except for the one on another in Escalona's down the block away.
Right.
So unfortunately, he split it, and you're right up against the other
Right. But
yeah.
the wood termite damage
It has to be
obviously is going to be
replaced.
fixed
Right,
anyway.
right, it has to
Which
be
is
replaced.
basically 2 slabs.
Yeah, I was just addressing that it may not be to period.
To me, it seems like the consultant agrees with you based on how they wrote that. Yeah.
Oh, where?
Number 16? You're talking about 16, right?
16,
Yeah.
correct.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Great, thank you.
yeah, it says termite damage wood fence,
Right,
replace.
Let's see if we can change.
yeah, that it's compatible with historic character, yeah,
And
yeah,
that would be
That's fine, yeah.
outrageous in cost.
yeah.
And then the only other comment we had was 19 utility pipe. There's a photo of it. You can look at photo 9. That is a natural sewer gas release pipe. Comes from under the house foundation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so any sewer gases that get trapped under a house, if they're not released, could blow up.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you don't want to really, you don't want to remove that.
We could paint it, like they want us to paint our other conduit box and our electrical box and all the rest. I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's fine.
It's a radiant gas?
So it has to go all the way up to the eave?
Over the top of the house, yeah.
You wouldn't want to vent sewer gases down low.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
want
Have you ever
to
seen-
remove it, camp it, and have it go.
Right, no.
So can we recommend striking number 19?
Well,
Is
I'll
that-
paint it.
Is it a galvanized pipe?
I'm
Yeah.
saying,
Rusted door
Or we could paint
opening
it.
on east elevation
So
will
the-
restore
Oh,
the
they were
original
okay.
yeah,
fenestration
okay.
within the
Well,
opening
describe
based
it in
on
number 19,
documents or
what it is,
physical
so-
evidence
Yeah.
based on extant
Yeah, because like
Right.
a very
I think it's
similar
the
item
let's
is
just
on the
get away
garage
with
doors where
Yeah.
they don't like their silver hinges. And they say
hopefully
replace
you can
them
read that.
or paint them.
Yeah.
Well,
So the
David-
consultant thought it was obsolete, but it's
Can we-
actually functional.
So can we change number 19 or recommend changing number 19 to say paint that utility pipe and strike the word obsolete?
Okay.
It's a vent pipe.
Here's my suggested changes to 10.
So paint not removed.
Hey,
Hopefully you can
yeah,
read
let's
it.
take off the word obsolete because then it implies that it's non-functional.
It's not unfunctional, it's functional.
I think that's fine. Okay. Well, it sounds like we have a understanding here
Yeah.
amongst the group. Again, we're not approving it, but we'll recommend. Does that give you guys what you need? I think that's a good change.
Yeah, I think that if in the my understanding is that there's support for changing the roof item to have the wordings that is to be similar to the item 3 that provides flexibility for the applicant to work with staff based on the report provided from a roofing professional, right?
Yes.
And then I have some suggested changes on number 10 about that window door item. To say remove one fixed single light window within the original opening on the east elevation and restore the original fenestration within the opening based on documentary and physical evidence based on extant original. So what that would do, I got rid of mention of the door and getting into the weeds on that, and instead we rely on whatever evidence there is, and if the evidence does suggest that there was some sort of door, then we would work with you to put something in there that would not be a safety issue and would improve the integrity of the building and have some airflow.
Yeah.
I think we can work with you on that, but I think to honor the intent of this agreement, whatever you do here should improve the integrity of that opening.
Well, I agree.
Okay.
And also though, that door would be non-functional at this point anyway, because there's a 97-year-old cactus out front that prevent anybody from coming in and out of the door, but people walking around in the middle of the night, they would try to get around these cactus anyway. So,
Sounds like a rough neighborhood.
no, I mean, it's people,
No, I get it.
It's by the beach, you know, because.
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, we've had 2 different people that have come into the house, and I heard them at 3 in the morning. One woman was going to the bathroom on the floor in our kitchen, and this other guy was just sitting there walking around like looking, and it's a beach.
Yeah, yeah. It just comes up from Linda Lane and it just sits right there. So,
Yeah. Okay, and like I said, I want to get all these inspections done first so that we know basically what everything is, so that we can put it all in perspective.
Okay. I think we have a good resolution here, so thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Well,
coming in.
and you'll have the opportunity to look at.
Looking forward to it.
We'll make the changes, and you'll have an opportunity to look at them before we go to council.
excellent.
But,
That's great, thanks for
Yeah.
your help
All right.
and your time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Thank you for
Thank you.
preserving the
Being
house.
Okay,
Thank you.
moving on, we have, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just want to ask David if,
Yeah.
I'll talk to our window.
Let's talk outside because the meeting's still going on. They got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any, we have a new
Thank
business,
you.
we have no old business. Mr. Christopher, you have something that's going on here?
No.
No oral written communication. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I move adjournment to the next meeting of the DRC, which is
October 15th.
October 15th, 3 p.m. in this community conference room.
Okay, and I won't be here for that, so
Okay.
you know I'm gone most of October.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing some historic research in European countries. So that'll be fun.
Sounds good. Sounds nice.
Actually, finally get to go into Sagrada Familia. Hopefully. I think that's
Nice.
open now. Last time we were there, it was all closed up. Poor timing on our part. Okay,
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
thank you.
We adjourned, or?
Yeah, we adjourned.
I didn't hear a second.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
I'll second it for Tamara's record keeping.
Oh, okay, I thought.